it's just me and you alone, never lonely.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me today to talk about being in the rise as well as just your career and everything. Can you start off by just telling us a little bit about you, who you are, how you got into cooking?
So about me, I'm Almira, born and raised in the Bronx, between the Bronx and Harlem. Um, Big family. Um, of course, with family, there's food all the time. And how I started, I always tell a story when I was like 3 years old. My dad, it was in the morning. My siblings were already in school. I was 3 years old, so I wasn't in school yet. My mom took a nap and I snuck in the kitchen to try to make me some cheese eggs, and my dad came in and busted me.
You're trying to make cheese eggs at 3?
I was, because I'm like, I'm gonna do this. I've seen it enough. I know what it is. And instead of him yelling at me, he just showed me how to properly make it, and he just, of course, warned me not to do that again by myself.
I love that though, but he was like supportive of the craft at
Yes,
3. So it was like, it's dangerous, but I will show you how to do it. And cheese eggs are one of the best things. So you had a good palate even at 3. So
yes.
So when did you like as in so were you cooking them for family and stuff? Did you start helping out at family gatherings? Was your dad kind of showing you the ropes as you got older?
I was just always watching. I was always in the kitchen watching what everybody was doing. My dad was the main person that made the meals, um, and he always, so just like in my personal home, our family is not big, so we would he does not have to make a large amount of food, but he would just always every day make large amounts of food and have his door open, and he's like, just in case somebody comes over, he's just always prepared and ready to feed everybody.
That's a beautiful thing. So you kind of also probably got that giving spirit, which is all of what food is, right? Feeding
Yeah.
people is a part of just that warmth. So I love that. And so as you got older, when did you decide, okay, this is what I want to do professionally?
um when I finally, because I was toying with it, um high school, senior year, I had a history teacher who, he decided to do an economics class for us, and he had us do a project of, what we would possibly want to do in the future. We had to like do a whole business plan and the outline and stuff. And I was like, I'm going to make up my restaurant. And from then it's just like, yeah, this is what I want to do. And then I have friends, we used to travel to different colleges to, just to visit the college and, see what it's about, see which ones we wanted to go to. And majority of them were culinary colleges, and it was just like, oh wow, they have like whole schools for to cook, to teach how to cook.
So did you go to culinary school then?
I Right then, no, I ended up going to Mega Everest College in Brooklyn, um, for business management. I wasn't happy there, so I did leave there after like a year and a half, and I went into culinary.
Okay, so it was a little bit wasn't straight, but you kind of that was where your heart always was, so you kind of found your way back there.
Yeah,
And what was it like culinary school? Was it a lot different from having learned how to cook at home? You're learning all these techniques
so
and things, right?
completely different, completely different. Because when you home, you use that one little knife for everything, and you cut everything in your hand. And in the school, you have to learn. The first thing is knife skills. You have to learn. If you don't pass in knife skills, you can't go on to the next segment.
Ooh, see, that's hard because, like you say, I thought you can make a good meal, but everything may not be exactly cut exactly right. But they're just trying to teach you those basics so you can get up there, right?
Yes.
So, and where did you go to culinary school?
Star Career Academy. It was on 14th Street.
Ooh, and what was your first job out of culinary school?
My first job was where, so this culinary school, you did 6 months in the school, learning skills, and then 3 months externing at like a restaurant or somewhere where it's culinary. or like a restaurant. And I went to Vong restaurant, where Gene George, he was the owner of the restaurant. And I guess they liked me so much with my externship, they decided to hire me as soon as my externship was over.
Okay, so you were doing something right. Those knife skills and everything, you were showing some skill. That's excellent. Very cool. And so from there, now somehow, how has your path ended up where you're now a sous chef at Red Rooster, right? Marcus Samuelsson's restaurant. So what was the path from being working with John George to now being where you are up in Harlem?
It was a roller coaster, um, because I wasn't able to stay in the culinary industry, because I had to a lot of times, like quit my jobs to take care of home. So it was like a lot of stop and go, stop and go. Um, so I've cooked in plenty of places. I've cooked in a fish and chip spot, a Thai restaurant, like you name it. I've probably worked in one of the restaurants. Um, and then eventually I got to Red Rooster. It was just by chance. I didn't even really know that they were hiring. Um, I had already, I had just got hired at another job, and I'm like, you know what? I still have this interview. I'm gonna still go to Rooster and see if I could get the job. And I went, and they hired me on the spot. So it's just like, whatever. I just have two
Good track
jobs.
record. Okay. No, you're proud. No, that's amazing though. And so, how has that been working in Harlem? Because you said you're from the Bronx. So, how has it been working in Harlem, cooking in Harlem, the restaurant in general? What's been your experience there?
At Rooster, I like Rooster because just it's a vibe. It's just like a vibe at Rooster. There's a live band, the just like front of house, especially with the customers, they're just so open and happy. The food a lot of times is family style, so it's just like a good vibe to be there. The plus is the celebrities that come in, but even without them, it's just a really good vibe there. And I'm like I said, I was raised in Harlem as well, so it's like being at home.
Okay, so that's excellent connection. Like it sounds very family like, and so you talk about family style meals, right? And I know that like Red Rooster kind of has a twist on some traditional soul food type of meals, but it's in a different kind of its own twist, which I guess goes with that family style. And so, how has being at Red Rooster changed the way you cook, maybe, or different flavors, techniques? Has it done anything in that area?
Flavor wise, I would say so. Yes, flavor wise, I've learned a couple of African dishes to make. Um, Other than that, everything else is what I already know or what I'm used to.
No, but
Um,
that's good.
but that's been intriguing. One of my favorite dishes that I learned to make is called Keely Weely.
Oh yeah, uh-huh. I'm plantains.
When I'm like, what is that? I had to make it. It was just like I had maybe a couple of days to figure out how to make it. And I'm the type of person, I love the taste of traditional food. So I don't want to put my twist on it, especially not my first time. I want it to taste like how it's supposed to taste.
Okay.
And it was for a couple that were getting married, and we don't have that on the menu. So it's just like, oh my gosh, like, are they gonna like it? Are they gonna curse me out?
And then, so this couple is, I'm guessing, West African, so they know how it's supposed to taste, right?
Yes.
So you're just like,
Oh my gosh, I was sweating. I'm in the kitchen, like asking the servers, did they like it? Did they like it? And they loved it. And I'm like, yes, I did it. Like I did my research. I'm like, I'm not getting this wrong.
in addition to working at the restaurant, right, you're also an entrepreneur. You have your own catering company, Truly Yours Catering LLC. So can you talk a little bit about when you started that? What was the inspiration behind that?
The inspiration, it was two inspirations actually. So the first one, when I was just out of between in culinary school and just out of culinary school, I had a lot of family and friends that would ask me to cater for their birthday parties. I wasn't getting paid for it. And I'm just like, after a while, I'm like, I went to school for this. I have my credentials. Like, I
Yes.
need something. I need some kind of reimbursement.
Yes.
So I'm like, I'll make this business. So there's no excuse. This is my business. You have to pay me. The other reason why I made it is because, and it started off with the pies. I have an annual pie sale for the holidays. Um, and that stemmed from me being at a low place, and I'm like, I don't have any gifts for my kids. I got to do something. I'm working all these hours, and I'm still not. I don't have enough. So I just you know what? I'm gonna make pies, sell them for the holidays, and it was just in time to get the gifts, and that made it that.
So a two type. So what type of pie? Sweet potato pie? What kind were you making?
Sweet potato pie, pecan pie, caramel apple pie, which is my best seller, and almond custard pie.
That caramel apple sounds real good. Yeah, I could see why that would be. So that's exciting. So are you still doing the pie sale this holiday season?
I did for Thanksgiving, and then for Christmas, I'm not gonna do it this Christmas. Um, yeah, I have to get some things in order.
I feel that. Well, much respect to you because just talking to so many of these chefs about the hours you work, constantly being on your feet, and then also being a mother, I definitely commend that. Has it been difficult to balance a lot with the restaurant industry and having children?
It's beyond difficult because the culinary world is so demanding. It's so demanding of your time. Um, like you can't really take off sick days like that. Like, and then being a mother, it's another demanding job that's nonstop. So it's kind of hard, and you don't want to constantly say, oh, I have to come in late, I have to uh take this day off, because then it's looking like you don't want to be at the job. So, and a lot of in the culinary, a lot of people, they don't have kids, so they can't really relate to what that life is actually about.
That makes sense. Well, again, I commend you. How old are your children?
uh 13 and 6.
Wow. So definitely throughout that. Yeah, no, that's definitely an accomplishment to have balanced that. And I know even inside of the book, the rise that you're featured in, right? Marcus Samuelsson mentions that you're kind of just like almost just doing so many things. He's like being a mother, being a chef, having your business. He really respects your hustle there. And so he says you inspire the salmon rillettes with injera. And so I wanted to know, like that dish seems like it represents some fusion, right? Between like the French technique, you have some of the African flavors with the injera. How does this like dish relate to the food that you make? Were you surprised to see that's what you inspired? What did you think about it when you seen it?
um so I was just surprised with how much he put in the book in general about me, because I'm literally like, I go into work, my head is down, I work, and I go home.
Mm-hmm.
um and I didn't realize that he was actually observing me.
Wow, it's a little bit right when you're like, wait, you've been paying attention? Yeah.
um that's my family. It's just like I said, my family, we cook everything. Our functions at home, like our parties, is not just soul food. Like we have Caribbean food, Spanish food, some Italian food. It's just always a mixture of things.
Mm-hmm.
um, so in that way, it does relate to in the book.
That makes sense. That's really cool though. And so what would you kind of say is your signature dish that everybody knows, okay, Myra's gonna make this, so you have to go eat?
My family always, every function, Myra, can you bring some big ziti?
Ooh,
That's the one thing that they always ask for.
sounds good. So again, those different, like you said, different cultures, different heritages brought in and making them taste good. That's excellent. And so you talk a little bit about not just making soul food, right, and having these different types of food. So how would you define Black food then?
um Black is, it's just a fusion. I think black food is a fusion. You can't, because you can't pinpoint it on one thing.
Mhm.
um I always say is is a fusion with a little extra spice,
I like that.
a little extra flavor, you know.
Yeah, just making sure, taking whatever it is and just being like, yeah, elevating it. That's no, I like that idea of it. Definitely do. And so another person that when I was reading through your section, because yeah, it was really interesting. I was like, he said that you reminded him of Lillian Harris Dean, who I had never heard of before, who was like this Harlem entrepreneur back in the early 1900s, right? Like selling her pig's feet on a corner in Harlem. And I was like, wow, there's so much history, right, in Harlem and New York of Black food, Black entrepreneurs. And so that's one person I've read into more, but who do you either past or present look up to in the food world, either as a mentor and inspiration, someone that you would want to follow in their footsteps?
There's so many people that I can. A lot of them are female chefs, because culinary world, um, the chefs are usually white males. Um, so just through culinary, through my first job and till now, I've a lot of times, well, not Rooster, I've a lot of times been either the only female in the kitchen or the only Black female in the kitchen. Um, so now I'm starting to see more Black females, and it's just like, wow, I'm not the only one. Even in the book is so many great chefs in the book. Um, so there's Chef Eris. She won Chopped. Um, I've gotten a chance to work with her. She's bomb. She's like fire in the kitchen. Um, there's Chef Lexi. She had her own baking. I'm trying to think. It was in Harlem. She works with she was on Chopped as well. She works with Marcus a lot as well. Um, and why she inspired me, because she too is a mother, and she was able to, have a whole business, like a physical place. Um, and I'm like, that and juggling being a mother is just like a lot, and that's inspiring. Mashama Bailey, who she's in the book, I got a chance to work with her too, and she's just like amazing. She's so soft spoken and nice, but she's just another one, just a a bomb in the kitchen.
Wow. No, I love though that like you said, being able to work these different Black female chefs, seeing them elevated. Because it's funny, I was think Chef's Table I was watching on Netflix, that was the first time I had seen Mashama Bailey and seeing everything that she was doing and her industry. It's definitely inspiring to see all of this. You talk about some of these people who competed on Chopped, right? Do you ever see yourself competing like on a speed type of competition for food?
I do, but I'm just like, I'm so nervous. I'm like, am I gonna mess up? Because it's so much pressure, and it's all gonna be recorded. I was just like, ugh. But I definitely can.
Yes, that would be definitely an exciting thing. I would love to see you on something like that. And so going a little bit more into the home, right? Like you said, being a mother. So I'm sure your kids are happy to have a chef as a mother, eating well all the time. So what are your like basically your top 5 ingredients you always have at home on hand to whip something up? I put you in that chop mind, right? Get that basket.
Only 5. Okay.
Yes.
I feel like always flour, butter, garlic. I need garlic in my life. Um, that's already 4. Dang. Okay.
No, wait. You said flour, butter, and garlic, right? So you got 2 more.
I got 2 more. I'm trying to pick wisely. I'm gonna say cinnamon and nutmeg, but it's just like.
So this is sounding almost like a baker's kind of pantry, but then you threw the garlic in there. So
Yeah.
if you had those 5 ingredients, what are you making?
I wanted to say cilantro, but I don't know.
No, those are some good ones. So you like definitely some seasoning, right? Some spice. So that sounds good. I like that. And so going a little bit towards leaving the home, if you could go anywhere just to taste the food, where would you want to go? What would be your dream foodie destination?
Um, Thailand. So when I started working in the Thai restaurant, um, first I was just amazed with how similar the ingredients that they use versus like the West Indian community use, because they use and Spanish, because they use cilantro, they use garlic, they use a lot of ginger. Um, so a lot of the spices were similar, but it was used in a different way. Plus, they have like fish sauce or whatever. That's the only difference. Um, but it was just I was just like, I have to go there and like really taste all their food.
And then Thai is definitely like I feel like it's very flavor, right? A lot of flavor, a big pop. So what is like one of your favorite dishes from Thailand?
I was is it I'm trying to think. Though okay, so when I was at the Thai restaurant, I would always try to sneak some red curry, and we would make it with beef, kind of like a beef stew.
Mm.
Um, and they use like a lot of palm sugar as well, so it was like a little bit sweet, spicy. Um, it was just so good, and the beef is so tender. It's
That
just
sounds good. Yeah, no, that sounds real good. You said the beef is tender, it's sweet and spicy, just all that stuff working together. That
yes.
sounds delicious. Definitely does. And so, kind of pivoting a little bit, can you talk about like what legacy do you hope to leave on the culinary industry?
Um,
I know it's a big question to go from like street food to like your legacy, but
just I guess togetherness, helping and building, and just being together. Because the food, that's what food does. It brings everybody together, no matter what color or race, no matter what your political beliefs are. If food is good and you can have a good conversation plus some wine, um, it's just like, why not? It's just like a moment of peace. Everybody just comes together.
mm, that makes sense. So again, kind of coming full circle from you seeing food as like a place to bring people together as a young child, right? With family gatherings, with how your father's outlook on food was, to then now seeing that as you wanted to continue that. I think that's a beautiful thing. And so just to wrap up, I just want to ask, are you working on any projects that you want to share or anything in the pipeline?
So I've never done like videos like YouTube or anything, and I said with the times, it's I might as well go with the times. So I'm planning on trying to start some little YouTube videos on how to's and stuff like that.
I think that'll be an amazing thing to get, especially from someone who's a trained chef, right? Who's had all these experiences. You have a huge diversity of background in your cooking, so I think that would be an amazing thing, and I would love to learn and see, and take up from you. So thank you so much for that. If you ever have the link and stuff coming up, please feel free to share that so we can share that with the video. But thank you so much for sitting down and talking to me. I really appreciate it. I really do. It was definitely a great conversation.
Your head on my pillow, say, ooh.